Shalom, shalom. This week's Parshat is Chayei, and yet again, it really applies and resonates with our people and our nation today when we suffer so much loss of so many loved ones here in Israel in recent days. Especially, I just came today from two Shiva visits, and I'd like to share with you something that I saw in the Parsha that I think really relates and speaks to us today as a nation. And so we're told in the beginning of the Parsha that Sarah passed away, and Abraham came to eulogize her and to cry for her. And the word cry, lifkota, in the text is written, the chof is diminished. It's much smaller in size compared to all the other letters. And the explanation that I've seen is that because Abraham, when he eulogized her, he only showed a small amount of his mourning compared to what was in his heart, what he was holding inside. And we can all really understand this when we are one who suffers loss, or we see other people in their mourning, that the words can only contain just a little window into the amount of pain and loss and suffering from a loved one. And there are no words that can really hold that or display that. And so this is one explanation, but I think there's a hidden secret in there, something bigger and greater. If you take a really examining eye towards what happened before and what happened after, there's hints strewn to a bigger message. And I think that is this word lifkota, the chaf that's diminished, the ko in there, it resonates back to this promise that God gave to Abraham when it says he took him outside of his tent and he promised Abraham that ko zarecha, the same exact ko that's small in this parsha, same word, ko zarecha. So will be your progeny. He says, when you look at the stars in the sky, you see how numerous and abundant they are. This will be like the the children, the grandchildren, all your progeny, everything that will descendants come from you will be so numerous you can't even count them. And I think what happened was once Sarah passed away and he's mourning and eulogizing her, the most important, the most valuable thing that they shared between them was Yitzchak and this promise of Yitzchak's future and the future of all of the nation of Israel to be coming from him. And he realized that he remembered this promise between God and him and Sarah that was going to come through from Yitzchak. And this was something that gave him strength to go on, a purpose to keep on his days, that he needed to work on making this promise go through now. The Sarah is not here. And right after we're told about her burial in Marat HaMachpelah, we're told the story of him telling his servant, Eliezer, to go find a wife for Yitzchak. So right away he gets on this promise of a future. And coincidentally, and I say that, because I don't believe in coincidences, that we hear in the story when, there was this whole story of Eliezer says praise to God and asks for signs and says, let the one who comes out and asks not just to draw water for me, but to feed the camels, she'll be the one, and please do a chesed, do this great goodness for my servant Abraham, and let this be the case. And as we're told, he doesn't even finish speaking, and it says, who came out? By the way, let's focus on this word came out also. It says that Rivka Yetzet use the same word to come out. Let's say the same word when it says God took Abraham out from his tents. It uses the same word. that he took him out, the same word that says it, and Rivka was coming out to draw water, also to bring us back to this promise. And she does this. She gives water, not just to Eliezer, but to all the camels. And she runs back because she offers him a place to stay. She runs back to tell her parents and her brother what happened. And she says, Ko, this is what the man said to me. Now, this word ko is not so common that it appears all over the place. It's a unique word. And when she's saying ko, this is what the man said to me when she's telling over the story of Eliezer and the camels. And they come from the house of Abraham and all of this. It's to show us God is there helping pull the strings. Yes, Abraham took all the steps to find a wife, a bride for Yitzchak, but this is the thing. God will help us, but he wants us to take the actual physical steps in doing the thing that needs to come to fruition. We have to have faith in God that things will happen, but we don't just leave it up to chance. We have faith in God, and then we do our hishtadlus, we do our work. And since Abraham now took pains to send Eliezer and gave him a plan, God blessed the plan, because no sooner did Eliezer finish asking for what he wanted than she comes out. She comes out. Vayetze, exactly like the word of Avram being coming out of his tent, both using this word ko to indicate this promise is about to begin. This is the seedlings of the promises about to happen before that Rivka will marry Yitzchak and they will have children to continue to give birth to the nation of Israel. And it's also fascinating because this word ko, its numerical value of ko is Chayei is 25, and this is also what we think of Chayei Kislev. We're about to go into this month of Kislev that's coming when we have Hanukkah next month, and it's the month, a miraculous month. And when we say miracles, we got to be very careful, because when I say miracles, I mean that God helps. We're doing stuff, but God helps to pull the strings to make what can happen as long as man does his part. And here, this is everybody doing what they're supposed to do, and their efforts are blessed, so that this future of Israel can come about. And fascinating enough, with this word I said, let's say it. So Rivka brings Eliezer and the camels back into the house, and in the end, he talks to the father and the brother, and finally she gets to go and to leave with Eliezer. She agrees she wants to go and to marry Yitzchak. And the first thing we're told when she's on the way, on these camels on the way with Eliezer, we're told, used with the same word is with Yitzchak. It says, Vayetze Yitzchak lasuach basadeh, that Yitzchak had gone out to pray in the field, and this is where she saw him. The same word as when God took Avram out, and then she comes out to meet Eliezer, and then Yitzchak comes out to pray in the field, and all this coming out, you'd say to go out from, they're exiting their past, which was stagnant, and they're going into this beautiful, amazing future of God's promise that we will be a nation, a flourishing nation that are as many as the stars in the sky and shine bright. Let us not forget, shine bright like the stars in the sky, even when we cannot see all of them or see the promise. And I think this is so important now, because when we suffer so much loss, our people and our nation, and we just want to mourn and cry big, and no words can contain our grief. We know that there's this promise from God, and that there is this promise that we have to still go on, move on, and do our part and continue to shine, because things are going to be a bright future, because it's part of God's promise. And we've seen, I don't want to say, at least 90% of it already been fulfilled at the end. And it's going to be something amazing. And it's going to be something where we can really see the light of God and good shine through in the end if we do our part. And I feel like our people in Israel are so amazing. What I've seen about how people move on, pick up, and do more than their part, much more than their part. I am convinced, I am convinced that we will have the help of God so strong, and this bright future, this darkness, these stars in the sky will be so bright. We're gonna dispel the darkness, and we're gonna come into daytime soon. Be'ezrat Hashem. With that, I wish you all a very safe, peaceful Shabbat Shalom.